Hello and welcome to MotorBeam. Mahindra has been launching a lot of sub 4 meter vehicles in the market. They started with the Verito Vibe, followed by the Quanto, and then there was the TUV 300 and the KUV 100, and now we have the NuvoSport, which is a replacement to the Quanto. Is Mahindra launching too many vehicles in the market? Does it create confusion and cannibalization? Does the NuvoSport really deserve to exist when we have the TUV 300, although this is positioned above the TUV? Well, we are going to find that out in today's video. Since the NuvoSport is essentially the Quanto facelift, the design is also very similar to the Quanto. Well, Mahindra has given this an all-new front end, and yes, it does look attractive from the front, more so with these daytime running lights. But when you look at the car from the side or from the rear, you will be reminded of the Quanto. At the side, it does get new alloy wheels, while at the rear, there's this black treatment to reduce the visual bulk. Now the interior of the NuvoSport has been carried over from the Quanto, which is a big issue because this dashboard looks very dated. It doesn't have any appeal, but Mahindra has made some changes. So you get the AC switchgear from the TUV, and it also gets an aftermarket lookalike Kenwood touchscreen audio system. Now in terms of safety, the NuvoSport gets ABS and airbags as standard on all trims except the base where it is optional. The Mahindra NuvoSport is a very spacious car. In fact, it has more space than the TUV 300, ensuring that 3 at the rear is a comfortable fit. Now there's plenty of legroom, knee room and headroom, but under thigh support could have been better. Now this seat can be reclined, but when you recline it the most, it's still a bit too upright due to the last row of jump seats. Almost all Mahindra vehicles are a 7-seater, and the NuvoSport isn't an exception. But this being a sub 4 meter vehicle is a tight squeeze in the third row. There isn't much space for an adult, and for a child, it's not recommended because there isn't any seat belt on offer. Powering the NuvoSport is the same 1.5-litre 3-cylinder engine which did duty on the Quanto, but Mahindra has made some tweaks, so this gets a dual-mass flywheel like the TUV 300 for better NVH levels. Now yes, there is some sort of vibration which creeps into the cabin, but overall NVH levels are pretty good, especially when compared to the Quanto. Now there's good amount of low-end punch. Yes, this car feels apt in the city, but out on the highway, it lacks grunt and doesn't pull fast, so you really have to plan your overtakes. Now the bigger problem is the AMT gearbox. While it does offer the convenience of an automatic gearbox, the other issues are very apparent, such as the creep function, which really doesn't work, and the hill start, which can be a big issue because the car doesn't hold long enough for you to react. So you really have to be careful when doing a hill start. When driving the NuvoSport spiritedly, you realize that this gearbox takes a lot of time in shifting gears, which can get a bit frustrating. Red line comes in around 4,500 RPM, and there's absolutely no power after 4,000 RPM. There's also an eco mode on offer, which results in the power being restricted to 72 bhp and torque to 180 Newton meters. And in that mode, ARAI has certified a mileage of 17.45 kilometers per litre, which is far from being the best in the segment. Now this AMT gearbox is very smooth to operate in terms of selecting your gears. There's also a manual mode on offer, but the manual mode is really of not much use. You rather put it in automatic completely and let the car do the shifts. It is best to drive this car in a manner wherein gear shifts will happen around the mid-range so that you get good amount of progress. But because of the heavy weight of the NuvoSport, you do feel that it's a bit underpowered. Now the big change on the NuvoSport is the fact that Mahindra has given it an all-new chassis. So yes, this uses the 3rd generation ladder frame platform which comes from the Scorpio and the TUV 300. This results in much better driving dynamics, but yes, there's still a lot of body roll on offer. The steering is very inconsistent, there's no feel on offer, and this isn't a car you would like to drive spiritedly. The Mahindra NuvoSport has a suspension which is on the softer side. So yes, when you're driving the car slowly over bumps, you realize that this car does absorb most of it without any fuss at all. But up the pace, and then there is a lot of vertical movement from the car, and that can make passengers very uncomfortable. While braking performance is decent, there is a lot of nosedive under heavy braking. Mahindra has done a good job in giving the Quanto a new lease of life in the form of the NuvoSport. Now this vehicle does get quite a lot of significant changes because the engine has been updated, it gets an all-new chassis, but when you look at the big picture you still realize there are a lot of shortcomings, and mostly it is the interior which feels very dated. Now when you compare this vehicle with the TUV 300, you realize that is a better vehicle, making the NuvoSport look a bit pointless. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, share, comment and subscribe to the MotorBeam channel.